My name is Linda Procopio, and I'm a metabolic balance coach. I work with men and women all over the world that want to regain their energy, their health, and their confidence back. I believe that everybody should wake up in the morning feeling so great and amazing and not have any joint pains or take all of these prescribed medications. So I would be here as your coach to guide you every step of the way to follow the Metabolic Balance program. The program is actually an innovative all-natural nutrition program, and it brings balance to your hormones, and they're very easy foods to prepare. You'd be making these foods that from regular groceries that you'd buy at a regular grocery store. You're not buying any proprietary foods, and you're going to be actually having fun in the kitchen cooking these meals. And we don't believe in eliminating any food groups, so you're going to be eating all of the food groups, which is great. And we do recognize that you will have a birthday party to attend, or a wedding, or you might want to have a glass of wine to celebrate with friends. So you can actually incorporate living and having fun into your program while still maintaining your weight. If you're interested, please give me a call. I'll be happy to be your coach. I'm going to be posting videos of some of the delicious meals that I've made. So I hope that you can enjoy those videos and see how easy and amazing this food is to prepare. As long as you're serious about getting healthy, give me a call or contact me, and I'll be happy to serve you and be your coach. Thank you. Today we're just in Linda's kitchen here preparing quite a few fabulous tasty recipes, and I have all of the fruits and vegetables here that I'm cutting up and chopping up and getting ready for the actual tasty dishes that we're going to be making. So we have fresh hot red pepper, some strawberries, avocado, my favorite, lime, cilantro, also my favorite, and some garlic. So we're just going to be chopping those up right now. And I know that there's probably an easy way to chop up this avocado, but I like to do it my version. I'm just making slices down the side. And then I find it's very easy to just come apart. And you can easily just discard the pit. And it's the seeds in the red pepper that actually make the pepper really hot. So if you don't want it too spicy, you have to make sure that you eliminate the seeds. So we'll take out most of the seeds today because I don't think we're going too spicy. So it all depends what you're cooking. And we're going to chop up this cilantro that is eventually going to be going into the smoothie. In this recipe for the smoothie, it actually requires that we take the seeds out of the cucumber. So that's what I'm doing here. And now we've got the garlic. Perfect. Okay, and we're going to also just drain the water out of the buffalo mozzarella. Just discard that. And I like to just rinse it off as well, just so that, because it is sitting in the water. So it's better if you just rinse it, and we'll put that back in there. So we have that for later. And we're also going to be using artichokes that are packed in water. So we're going to be rinsing those. Perfect. And we're going to put those in a bowl just so that we have them ready for our recipe. Great. It's always important to clean up as you go along. I find that leaves less of a mess as you're cooking, which makes cooking more enjoyable, because a lot of people don't really like cooking due to the fact that they have so much mess to clean up. But if you clean up as you're going along, makes it much easier for the cleanup. Okay. So we have some yogurt and some milk for our smoothie. So I think we're ready to go and start prepping these fabulous dishes. So the first dish I'd like to make today is actually a smoothie, and it's avocado, cilantro, strawberries, milk, and yogurt. And I've been purchasing the yogurt that's actually 2% yogurt, because actually the higher the fat in the dairy products, the more it helps us burn fat. So all of these things about low fat and no fat are actually making us more obese. So you don't have to continuously buy that 0% yogurt, which tastes really horrible. You can start buying 2 and even 3% yogurt, which tastes better, and it's creamier and it's smooth and it's so good. And you'll actually enjoy eating your yogurt much better. So I'm going to be adding a few spoons of that to our food processor. And everyone, having a food processor in the kitchen is a must. Everything that you want to blend up in there, it just blends up so easily. And chopping is amazing, and it's just definitely a chef's tool that you should have in the kitchen. And we're going to add a little bit of milk, also 2% milk. And then we have our fresh strawberries and some cilantro. I won't go too heavy on the cilantro. I usually add tons of it, but my kids always say, don't put so much cilantro in there. So we're just going to add a little bit there. And then we have the avocado. And this is great to make in the morning, just before you're going to work. If you want to take your smoothie with you, or if you're at home on a Sunday, they're great smoothies to make for your family. And I'm sure everyone will love it. So there we go. And then we have the cucumber that we took the seeds out of. So we're going to put that in there too. And then we're going to blend that up. So this might be a little loud, but just put it on high for a few minutes. The best part about cooking is you get to taste everything to make sure that it's good for your guests. So I'm going to taste that and see if it's right. That's delicious. Yummy. So you could pour this in a glass that you're taking with you to work, if you have one of those containers that you like to take with you. And it's an amazing smoothie, and you're getting your vegetables, your fruit, and your dairy all at once, and your protein, since yogurt is a protein. So you take that with you to work, and there's your breakfast in the morning. So I'm just getting the food processor ready again to make the next dish, which is actually a dip. And it's made with artichokes and arugula, which is so tasty. And I make it all the time if I'm having guests over. It's a fantastic dip to put out. It's healthy. And the artichokes and the arugula are actually good for lowering your cholesterol levels. So that's important. So I have the fresh organic arugula that we're going to add in here. And we have our artichokes that were soaked in water. It's better to buy the ones in water, not oil, since the oil has the extra calories. And we're going to put those in there. Artichokes. Then we're going to add garlic, so at least 2 cloves, not too big, but about the fair size. Add those in. And then we're going to blend that up. Perfect. And then I saved the other half of a little piece of avocado to also add that in, just to give it a little bit of a creamy texture. You can add more if you like. There we go. that one. That's perfect. And it's always great to add some fresh black pepper. And you can also add a little bit of salt if you desire, but it's not necessary. That's great. That's amazing. And we will just add a little bit of salt. And the best thing to serve this dip with are these Thin Crisp crackers. They're rye crackers, which are very healthy for you. And they're part of the Metabolic Balance program, so they are allowed on your meal plan. And you can serve the dip with these. It looks very nice in a dish. Fancy it up a little bit. So I'll be doing that after. The next dish that we're preparing is yogurt with apples and cinnamon. And what I like to do is actually cook the apples. So when you cook the apples, you can actually even drink the water after you cook the apples, which is amazing. But you're also getting the texture of the apple being hot and warm. And it almost tastes like you're eating an apple pie without the crust, so, and half the calories. So I'm just going to go ahead and peel these apples. I'm working with Macintosh apples, as well as Royal Gala, and I find those two as a combination are really good together. So I'm just going to do that. And these are apples that I actually went to the market to get fresh today. So they were just picked off the tree. Can't beat fresh stuff that you have picked right off the tree, or if you go to a farm where they actually have apples and you can pick your own, that's even a lot of fun. And an apple a day does keep the doctor away because it does have the most amount of vitamins out of all the fruits that are out there. So if you can get an apple in you every day, it's an easy thing to take with you. Wash it in the evening and have it ready to go, and just take it with you when you go to work. Okay. So you just have to add a little bit of water, not a lot, maybe half a cup. And then you just slice your apples into the water. Like so. Okay, and then we're going to cook that on medium heat. It doesn't really take a lot of time, maybe about 5 minutes. You just want it so that the apples are nice and tender and soft, but not too soft and mushy. So you have to keep an eye on it. Okay. And did I turn on the right element? Maybe not. No. There we go. Okay. So while that's going, we are going to start preparing our next dish, which is turkey meatballs. You can actually use ground lamb for this dish or ground chicken, but I went for the ground turkey option this time. Turkey is the leanest meat that you can eat, and it is a very good protein to have, and very simple, easy to make meatballs. Okay, so you just start by adding the turkey in a bowl, as well as some of the chopped peppers that we have. I don't know about you guys, but I really like the dark meat in turkey. I know that that was always a thing with our family. Whenever we had turkey dinner, we would always fight over the dark meat. And there was my mom, my sister, and my brother and I. And my parents would eat some of the white meat, but they preferred dark as well. And then I remember the rest of the week, we were going to school and we had turkey sandwiches every day, and it was the white meat and it was very dry. And I just remember that growing up. So I'm sure some of you can relate to that story. So there we have some peppers. And as I was saying earlier, if you like your meatballs spicier, you can actually keep some of the seeds in of the pepper. But if you prefer not to have it so spicy, then you take the seeds out. So I'm going to leave a few in there and spice it up a little bit. It's nice to chop it up fine, but it doesn't have to be, as long as it's not in big chunks, should be fine for chopping. And add that in there. And we want to add a little bit of cilantro as well. You can add parsley if you're not a cilantro fan, since I find it's one of those things that you either hate or you love. And I mentioned earlier I love cilantro, so we'll add that in. And then we have our garlic. So the garlic, you want to make sure that it's chopped up very fine. You don't want your guests getting a big chunk of garlic in their mouth as they're eating their meatballs. It's also so nice to have the turkey available any time of the year. I remember at one time when I was growing up, it really only was available during the holidays, or so I thought anyhow. And so we really looked forward to it at the Easter time and Christmas and Thanksgiving. So there we go. We have chopped garlic, cilantro. And one of the best thing about making these meatballs is that you don't need any breadcrumbs or eggs to bind the mixture together, which is great. So you're eliminating, you don't want to be mixing two proteins together. So we just mix the ingredients together, and whether you're using the lamb or the ground chicken, the ingredients all stick very well together, as you can see. And we just need to get a frying pan. And we just need to add a little bit of olive oil. Olive oil is the best oil that you could be using. It's very good for your heart as well. And we'll just put that on low heat. And when you're ready, you can just place your meatballs into the frying pan. And other spices could be added to this, such as cumin, as well as cayenne pepper, if you like them really spicy. But today we're just going with the fresh hot peppers that I picked up at the market. And I find there's really no need to add salt, because you'll have the flavor of the cilantro and the peppers. But if you prefer, and that's your desire, you can add a little bit of salt to it. So this is what it'll look like. Kind of looks like Christmas. So it's got the red and the green and the white colors. Or the Italian flag, I guess. So then, once your oil is hot, you just form little meatballs. So I'm just going to shut off the apples because I'm pretty sure they're nice and tender. And the apple dish could be used as in the evening after your dinner, if you prefer, or you can have it in the morning or even at lunchtime. So it's a dish that goes any time of the day. And again, you're getting your yogurt, you're getting your apples, and you're getting your cinnamon. And cinnamon is very good at fighting infections. So if you're fighting a cold or you feel a sore throat coming on, cinnamon is the best thing for you to take, a natural substance to cure that sore throat. So there we go with the meatballs. This is where you need little kitchen helpers helping you roll the meatballs. So if you have children, you get them in the kitchen cooking with you, because it is so important to teach your kids to cook nutritious meals as opposed to having fast food. And I know that they're bombarded with things like that on TV, you know, going out to the store and getting a Big Mac, a hamburger or something that's not so healthy. Or it's very easy to just buy frozen foods, and then they get used to throwing that in the microwave, and you know, both of them aren't very good for you, having frozen foods as well as putting their foods in the microwave. So you could teach your kids that it's very simple to make something like this. There we go. Perfect. So also it's very important to wash your hands while you're cooking, in between cooking, if you're handling poultry especially. And it's so important, if you have it on your cutting board, that you wash your cutting board, and you can even wash it down with vinegar, which gets rid of any bacteria. Okay. So now the next thing I really wanted to show you was something that you can take with you if you're grabbing breakfast to go. It's a very simple metabolic balance recipe dish to make. And so I've hard-boiled the eggs already. So you have your 2 eggs that you can just simply put in a Tupperware container. And then you can simply slice up some celery. Or if you don't have celery on your plan, but you have cucumber, it's very simple to just slice up a few pieces of celery, for example. Give them a quick wash. So you're going to have your hard-boiled eggs, you're going to have your celery, and I'll just put them in the bowl for now. But let's say we're putting this in a Tupperware container, so you have your celery, you have your eggs, and then you can just put 4 or 5 of these crackers and also take that along with you. Or everyone has rye bread on their plan, so you can just take your required amount of rye bread with you and just add that in the baggie and take that along, and grab your apple, and there you have a perfect metabolic balanced breakfast to take with you. Okay, make sure that's good. Okay, so I took the apples off the stove that we were cooking earlier, and as you can see, they become very, very tender and soft, but not too soft and mushy, so they're just perfect. And what I like to do is, I'll just get the strainer here. And a cup. So I don't like to waste the water of the apples because it tastes so good to drink it. It's like you're drinking apple cider, which is really good. So I'll just put the cup in the sink with the strainer, strain that out. There we go. And so you have about a half a glass or sometimes a full glass depending on how much water you add. But I really don't like to add too much water. And then you can drink it when it cools off and it tastes like apple cider. So good. It's delicious. And with these apples, what we're going to do is we're going to get a bowl and we're going to add our yogurt to the bowl. And this is a very easy breakfast to make. You can actually add hemp hearts if you like hemp hearts, or if you have ground flaxseed, that's also good to add for some extra fiber. And then you just add your apples on top of that. And if you desire cinnamon, you can actually sprinkle that on top. Otherwise, you could just eat it plain like that. And it's just warm, steamy, and it makes the yogurt nice and creamy and hot and fresh. And it's like eating an apple pie, like I was saying, so without the crust. So it's a fantastic dish. And our meatballs are almost finished. I cook them anywhere from 10 to 12 minutes, depending on the temperature of your oven, how big you made the meatballs. So, you don't want to mess around with poultry, so you have to make sure that it's thoroughly cooked. Whereas if you were making lamb, you can be a little bit more generous with the time, or less generous with the time. We have those going. And while we're waiting for the meatballs, I'd like to show you one more thing, which is very easy to make. And that is the buffalo mozzarella dish. So you could purchase the buffalo mozzarella like this. It comes in a container, or they also have them in the plastic bags. And I believe Santa Lucia makes them. So it's a nice soft cheese. And you would just place that on your dish with arugula around it. Just fancy it up a little with the arugula. And grab a good quality olive oil, which we have here, and just drizzle a little bit on, as well as a nice balsamic. You drizzle the balsamic on top too, just a little bit on, splash a little bit on the arugula, just a little bit of salt and pepper, and I believe we have a tomato. You can add tomato or not, it's totally up to you, and it all depends if you have that on your plan or not, but it's nice to also just add a few slices of tomato on the dish just to make it look complete. So you can make nice thin slices like that. And voila, that's a fantastic healthy lunch where you're getting your cheese and your vegetables, and it's so tasty with the olive oil and the balsamic vinegar. For this dish, we're actually preparing rapini, which were purchased from the farm, very fresh, entire bushel of rapini, which were pre-cooked. So just basically washing them and blanching them in the water, and then placing them in freezer bags. So we have rapini for the entire winter. You can just buy these little baggies and freeze the rapini, and then it's very easy to just take it out of the freezer when you need it. And we're adding it to the frying pan like that, along with some garlic. So definitely need some chopped up garlic. You can chop it up in big chunks because it's not really going to be served with the garlic. It's just to add flavor. And then we add a little bit of olive oil. And rapini is so high in vitamins. There's A, K, so many different vitamins that are in there that are very good for you. And it's an antioxidant food. It's rich in zinc, iron, magnesium. So if your family enjoys having rapini, then it's a very healthy, tasty dish for you to make, and so simple. And you can spice it up too. If you prefer to add chili flakes at the end, you can. Otherwise, you can just have it plain. It depends how everyone in your family likes it. And it's still just a little frozen, but it's going to unthaw in a few minutes, and just fry it up till your desired texture is reached. So some people like their rapini mushy, some people like it al dente. So it's totally up to you, however you prefer to cook it. But frying it in the olive oil just really adds some flavor with the garlic as well. I'm going to actually just review everything that we just made in Linda's kitchen today. So for starters, we're actually going to look at this beautiful container that I prepared for your lunch to go or your breakfast to go. So we have the piece of rye bread, we have your Macintosh apple, we have celery cut up, as well as 2 hard-boiled eggs. So this is so easy to prepare. I boil all my eggs for the week, and I actually just put them in containers and I label them Monday to Friday, and I have this ready to go. I wash my apple. You can wash your celery ahead of time. The only thing you have to add is your bread. And if you don't want to add the bread into the container, you can actually even just put it in a baggie and bring it with you separately. So it's a very nutritious breakfast or lunch to take with you. Then we have the yogurt with the baked apple, or not the baked, but the cooked apples. Actually, you could bake them too, I guess, rather than just putting them in the to boil. But I like to boil it because then I like to take the juice of the apple and drink it. So good. Very tasty. And if you desire, you can add some cinnamon. So just a little sprinkle of cinnamon adds a lot of color to it, and it'll be very good and tasty for you. Then we have our caprese salad, which is your buffalo mozzarella and your tomatoes and your arugula, just sprinkled with a little bit of olive oil and balsamic vinegar. Then we have our smoothie, which you can also take with you to go in the morning. And earlier when I was making it, there was some lime that I was supposed to squeeze in there that I completely forgot about. So definitely use lime when you're making this fantastic smoothie. So you have your cilantro in there, you have your avocado, you have your strawberries, and you have your yogurt. So it's a really well-balanced smoothie which tastes fantastic. And then we have your artichoke and arugula dip. And this is going to help you decrease your cholesterol levels. So that's a very healthy dish to have. And I just sprinkled it with a little bit of black pepper. And I added some avocado just for that creamy texture. And we're serving it with the rye crisps. So it looks very nice if you're having guests over. It's a really nice appetizer. And also, just to mention, all of these dishes are vegetarian besides the meatballs. So, you know, if you're a vegetarian and you prefer not to have meat at all in your diet, then, you know, the only thing I've made actually that's for meat lovers are these meatballs. So you can see they're very colorful. They look nice on a dish. You can actually add some toothpicks and serve them as an appetizer, or serve it with the mains. So if you're having this with rapini, for example, it's a really nice dish, and it's very satisfying. It'll keep you satisfied for a long period of time, so you won't be getting those cravings in between meals, and you'll stay satisfied a lot longer. So these meatballs were prepared with ground turkey, but you can use the lamb or the ground chicken, and the rest of the ingredients are the same. And no breadcrumbs or eggs, so that's amazing. You don't need that to bind the meatballs together. And then we have the rapini dish, which is you can drizzle olive oil if you like on it, or if you just want to serve it plain with a little bit of salt, you can do that. And what I like to do is take the rye bread and actually make a rapini sandwich. So I make that to go sometimes as well. So very healthy dishes for you for today that we've prepared. And I hope you have fun making them, just as much fun as I did.